An election summer awaits. India is now in a state of election. One state at the cusp of a tectonic election. Will Bengal go with old formations or new forces? The war of ideologies, the do-or-die battle of Bengal. Top focus on To The Point this evening.
Good evening. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. So, yes, it's a do-or-die battle for Bengal, but there is already a political controversy over, viewers, the 8-phase election that has been announced for the state of West Bengal. The Chief Minister of West Bengal comes out and says, at whose behest, what was the need for an 8-phase election? That's our top focus. Was it needed for West Bengal is what we're going to be talking about. But let's quickly take you through the latest that has come in, filtered over the last 5 hours. India, viewers, has officially now entered the poll season, and as dates for upcoming polls in 4 states and the Union Territory of Puducherry has been announced, polls in Bengal will be conducted in 8 phases, like I just pointed out. The dates of polling for all 4 states and that 1 Union Territory, of course, is only going on a single phase, which is Puducherry. Tamil Nadu will be going in a single phase. Kerala, Puducherry, Tamil Nadu on April 6th, but polling will begin on March 27th, where Bengal is concerned. So the dates for Bengal: first phase of polling, March 27th. Second phase of polling, April 1st. Third phase of polling, April 6th. Fourth phase of polling, April 10th. April 17th is the 5th phase of polling, April 22nd, 6th, April 26th, 7th, and April 29th, the 8th phase of polling. The results for the Bengal polls, viewers, will be announced on the 2nd of May. Mamata Banerjee, like I pointed out, questioned the very need of an 8 phases poll for West Bengal, claiming the same has been done at the behest and to the advantage of the challenger in her state, the Bharatiya Janata Party.
আমি সর্বভারতীয় ইলেকশন কমিশনকে আমার অনেক অনেক অভিনন্দন, ধন্যবাদ এবং মোবারকবাদ জানাচ্ছি, বাধাই জানাচ্ছি যে তারা 5টা রাজ্যের ইলেকশন অ্যানাউন্স করেছেন। বাংলায় 294টা সিট, 8টা ফেজে ইলেকশন কেন? কাকে সুবিধা করে দেওয়ার জন্য? একটু তো রেশনাল থাকবে ইলেকশন কমিশন। We want election commission will have a highest regards. Now, like election commission, the important body, if they don't give justice to the state and the people, then where the people will go?
All right, so quite expected, because it's been highly political, the battle for Bengal, and already the biggest controversy at the back of what the Election Commission announced just a short while back has erupted, with the TMC questioning the need for an 8-phase election. Let's cut across, viewers, to our panelists this evening. I have Priyanka Tibrewal, Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson. In just about a minute, we'd be joined by Biswajit Deb. He's from the TMC spokesperson. And for a larger perspective, we'll be cutting across to Rahul Srivastava, National Affairs Editor. Priyanka, I want to come to you. The Chief Minister of Bengal has asked one pointed question: at whose behest was an 8-phase election announced in West Bengal? What was the need of an 8-phase election?
Very good evening, Preeti, to and all the viewers watching me. See, I don't actually understand that what kind of difficulties the CM is facing, because every time she opens her mouth and speaks anything, it is very clear and evident that what are her intentions, what is the intent. Now, I guess the paid advisors are not giving her good advices enough. So, in the past, we have seen, all of us, and the Election Commission for sure has assessed that there is violence in West Bengal whenever any kind of election is here in West Bengal. So after assessing the situation, it is the Election Commission who has decided to hold the election in 8 phases. Now, I don't understand, this is the same CM, this is the same police, the same authorities who do not allow oppositions to carry on their rallies, who do not give us permissions for our yatra, saying that there will be a law and order situation, and in order to control violence, they are not allowing us the permissions. Now, if the same Election Commission is looking into the same subject and is thinking about the state, that in order to maintain law and order, in order to hold that there is no kind of violence, to make sure then the election should be held in 8 phases, where is the difficulty? It is rather they are helping the states to, maintain the law and order situation. Now, what is their concern? Yes, the concern is one, because I just saw in your television yesterday that you all had shown a story of bombs being made in Bardhaman and people buying those bombs, political parties buying those bombs to use them during elections. So is that her concern, that the money which they have invested in buying bombs will be wasted?
Madam, if you saw, let's make it clear. If you saw that investigation, it said both the BJP and the TMC. Both are coming in for the bombs.
I also said,
so let's not be selective in that aspect.
While saying, see, I have said in my sentence that parties, political parties, and I said that. So it is not about BJP, not about TMC. I am saying that there shouldn't be any kind of violence from any party in West Bengal.
All right, the charge made, madam, while we wait.
It's an independent body.
Okay, Mr. Briwal, while we wait for the TMC spokesperson and our National Affairs editor to join us, the charge that is being made right now, which has been leveled against the 8-phase date that has been announced, is that the BJP wants to micromanage each and every phase, trying to leverage it. That is why this 8-phase election has been announced. A state like West Bengal doesn't need 8 phases. They've never been an 8-phase election, is what the charge is.
There have never been this kind of violence also in any other state. Just in a panchayat election, 33 people were killed on the same day and people were not allowed to file their nomination also. Tell me any other state where this has happened. No. More than 130 opponents are killed in a state. Tell me any other state where this has happened. No. So I don't understand that if TMC is saying that we will get more time to concentrate on various seats, TMC will get the same time.
Ma'am,
they can invest the same time. Where is the difficulty?
No, I'll tell you what the charge is. Okay, when you talk about there's never been a situation like this, I'll hark your memory back to 2011, ma'am, when the TMC was up against the left. It was one of the bloodiest elections that West Bengal has seen. Possibly even more. The run up to it, I'm sure you would also remember. Even at that time, the phases of elections were not 8 phases. At best, Bengal has seen a 5-phase election, not more than that. But the question that is being asked right now, what is the need of the 8th phase? Are you trying to micromanage each phase? Why not a 5-phase election, which has usually been the norm?
You are asking a good question, a correct question, but to a wrong person. Election Commission should answer this, that why have they assessed on taking elections on 8 phases? This is not the BJP who has passed this, that the 8-phase elections should take place. It is the Election Commission. And I am sorry, every time there is anything done by the ED, the CBI or the agencies, don't ask a question to a political party because we do not run them.
Fair enough. Okay. Biswajit Deb is with us. Let's connect to him. Biswajit Deb, why are you asking the BJP ask the Election Commission? Why an 8-phase election?
Yes. Why 8 phase? When Assam election will be conducted in 3 phases, Tamil Nadu also I think is 3 phases, then what's the purpose of Bengal facing an election with 8 phases? And that too the districts being bifurcated. South 24 Parganas, that has been divided in part 1 and part 2. I think 24 Parganas North also part 1 and part 2. I think some other districts are also there in part 1 and part 2. Now, this is not fair. This is something which is very much unfair on the part of the Election Commission, which I think. Now, regarding the other issues, which I was just hearing because I joined a bit late, I would like to respond that whenever there is election in any state, the CBI and the ED becomes very much active. That is not a new thing. It happened in Delhi with Arvind Kejriwal. It happened with Kamal Nath in Madhya Pradesh. It happened with Tejasvi Yadav in Bihar. So it's happening here in Bengal also. That is not a new thing. Every time there is an election anywhere in India, in any state, suddenly what happens, these agencies become very much active. Because these agencies are being controlled by the central government, we all know. And they run according to the whims and choice of the central government. I would also like to say that recently we are seeing that the Bengal icons, they are being used by the ruling party at the center. Now, Rabindranath Tagore, Bankim Chandra, and the other icons, they are being used by the BJP at the center. Now, will the Bengalis, will they learn Rabindranath Tagore or Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar or Swami Vivekananda or Netaji Subhash Bose from the BJP leaders? Are we going to learn from them?
Sir, you know, with due respect, okay, Mr. Dev.
Our slogan is Bengal wants.
Okay.
Bengal wants their own daughter.
Okay. Sir, with due respect. Sir, with due respect, if you.
Again for the third term.
Okay. Sir, you made your point.
Term.
Okay.
A government led by Mamata Banerjee.
Mr. Dev, you made your point, but with due respect, these are icons which are not limited to West Bengal. These are national icons. Anyone is free.
Of course.
Anyone is free to hero worship them and to celebrate them.
Absolutely, they are free.
Okay.
They are free. But will the Bengalis learn about Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, about Rabindranath Tagore, about Netaji, about the other icons, about Bankim Chandra, from the BJP leaders who are.
So what is wrong with that? Many would say, but the debate is not that. Many would say, what is wrong with that? But the debate is not that. The debate is, let me come back to the charge which has been made by the Chief Minister of West Bengal, your party leader, Mamata Banerjee, where she's talking about an 8-phase election. If you're confident, sir, in your voter today, you're confident he's going to vote for the daughter of West Bengal, which is your... If they're confident, then why grudge an... Let it be a 16-phase election. You should be confident that your voter is going to be with you.
Bengal has been... Please let me say. Why Bengal will be singled out like this? Why 8 phases for the Bengal? What's the reason? Assam is also facing a poll. Tamil Nadu is also going for a poll.
I have answers to whatever he said, Preeti, if I'm allowed to answer now.
Okay. But Priyanka Tibrewal, give me a minute. I'm coming to you. I know you wanted to rebut. Let me just bring in our national affairs editor as well, Rahul Srivastav. Rahul, the fact is, let's hark back to 2011, which was one of the bloodiest elections that West Bengal saw between the TMC and the left. Even at that time, there wasn't an 8-phase election. Maximum Bengal is seen as a 5-phase election. So questions are bound to be asked.
Yes, Preeti, questions are bound to be asked, but the fact is that the Election Commission has held meetings, and if there has been a history of violence, it is these incidents of violence in the past which are used as benchmark to decide election schedules later. This is not something new. It is seen in UP that there was a time in the late 80s and early 90s when over ballot papers were snatched, ballot boxes were taken away, and there was tremendous amount of rigging. And since then, Uttar Pradesh has been having long-phase elections. So the idea that in past there has been violence in the election and there were less number of phases as far as the polls is concerned, I think that is not a fit comparison. The fact is, if there is a history of violence, and in the Election Commission's judgment, there has been violence in the recent past, which there have been instances where a political party's president has been attacked. There have been skirmishes between workers of various political outfits. Also, we have to remember, given the fact that the number of polling booths has increased and there is greater social distancing to be observed, the staggering not only is to do with law and order, but also in terms of what kind of effort in terms of election machinery to be moved. Remember, Bengal has the maximum number of seats, 290 odd, whereas Tamil Nadu has 235, and Tamil Nadu has a history of peaceful elections. Now, if the state has peaceful elections, I think it is a lot to introspect for all political parties in Bengal,
right,
that if they don't want long-drawn elections, have a peaceful election.
Right. Okay. Yes, Priyanka Tibrewal, you wanted to respond to Mr. Dev. Go ahead.
Yes. So Mr. Dev was saying that, why this with Bengal, why election in 8 phases? Look at Assam, look at Kerala. So Assam, there are 126 seats. Kerala, there are 140 seats. And Bengal, 294, double almost. So now, see, I am not saying what the Elections Commission should do and should not do. What I am saying is that after assessing, it is their responsibility, it is their duty, and we should not interfere or intervene. And if there is any difficulty which the TMC has, they can go and write to the Election Commission regarding the same and complain about it. And apart from that, when he was saying that ED and CBI are active in West Bengal, sir, tell me, if your party has done nothing, if people from your party or, anybody alleging anything against them, if nothing has been done from their side, what is the difficulty? Face the investigation. And if nothing comes out in the investigation, nobody can do anything to you. People who go to the jail when things are proved against them, that is the reason they go to the jail. For example, Lalu Prasad Yadav. Nobody could do anything until things were proved. So what is the difficulty? Face the ED and CBI. Apart from that, even he was talking about, again the same thing, the culture of West Bengal. We do not know anything. So day before yesterday, when I was sitting with someone from TMC, I questioned them that these are national heroes. And if you hold so much respect for all of them, tell me where was Bhagat Singh born? Tell me where was Rajguru born? What? You don't know? Then it's a shame you do not know about national heroes.
Okay.
So please do not teach us the same. We know how to be a nationalist and how to respect nationalism.
All right, madam. Sir, Mr. Deb, you wanted to respond? Please come in.
Yes, definitely. Now you see, regarding the investigation, part of the investigation which is being done by the central agencies, we are not afraid. It's a common matter. I just mentioned, it's a very common issue which is being done in each and every state against the opposition, where the state is being run by the opposition party. It's a very common thing. I told you that it has been done in Madhya Pradesh, it has been done in Bihar, it has been done in Jharkhand, it has been done in Delhi, it is being done in Bengal also. So the persons against whom, the leaders against whom this particular investigation or any investigation will be done, it's free. They are free to do it.
Okay.
We are not afraid, because we know.
Why did we lose in Jharkhand
has been done.
Why did we lose in Jharkhand if we have everything in our control?
With both your permission, Mr. Brewal and Mr. Deb, I want to give the last word to our National Affairs editor. Rahul, I'll come to you. The fact is, do we really need the announcement of debates? Elections already on. As we speak today, Smriti Irani is given back to Mamata Banerjee riding the same scooter.
See, I think, Preeti, one very interesting picture emerges if you look at all the announcements today. 824 odd seats. Now, if you take Assam and Bengal, you have got some 400 something odd seats. Out of that, the BJP holds 87. Now, the rest remained 3 states of the southern India, which is called the Deep South. You have got 404 seats where the BJP has one seat. So the stakes for BJP are really heavy as far as the eastern sector and Bengal is concerned. And Bengal is the fortress that the BJP thinks it can breach. And that is why I think one of the most intense battles will be seen in Bengal. And if you see the build-up, both the political parties, TMC and BJP have tried to build a contest between themselves, exiting and pushing, elbowing out the more traditionally cadre-based parties in Bengal like the left and the Congress. Now the idea is to throw everything in. So you have had Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, you had Durga Puja, you have Bhagwan Ram, you have everything. I think that's the point boiler in this election,
It's
which
all
one
in.
needs to see.
It's all
so what
in or
Smriti
nothing.
Irani did, cycles and auto rickshaws, everything will be in play.
Well, you're right there. If there's a poker term to be used, it's all in. Let's see, will there be a saffron march on Mamata's green fort, or the green flag will fly where West Bengal is concerned? We'll only know when that last vote is counted. But yes, it's going to be a tectonic election, and we're going to keep a keen eye, and you've got to watch it right here on India Today. Thank you all for joining us. Up next is Rahul Kamal. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.